Good afternoon, David.
Hey, Phil.
Richard Marx is here today. Do you know who he is?
Yes, he's he started communism, right?
He's a Marxist.
Yes. No, he's a sort of friend I'm interested in exploring, and I think
I met him years ago. Lovely guy, great songwriter, great singer. I love his new album.
Yes, which is just out in the next, we've heard it, but it's out early January. It's out now, and it's called After Hours, and it's him doing standards and some songs that he wrote that just sound like they're already standards.
You know, wherever he goes, whatever he does, I will be right here waiting for Richard Marx.
Oh boy, that was so musical.
Let's spill the beans, chew the fat, food for thought, jokes on tap. Talking with our mouths full, having fun. A piece of cake and humble pie, serving up a slice of life. Leave the dressing on the side, it's naked lunch. Clothing optional.
Okay, I'm going to tell a story about how handsome Richard Marx is.
Oh, boy,
you
I
do
can't
not
wait to
know
hear
this story. We have a weird sort of know each other, and I think you know I really like you.
Yeah, no, you've always been so nice to me.
But you don't know this story that I not only remembered it because I've been listening to. Richard has a podcast called Stories to Tell, which is great.
Thank you.
I've listened to every one now. I just got to the most recent one, but something you said about playing the bottom line, I went, oh my God, I think I was at Richard's first big New York gig.
Can I say shit on this?
Yes, you can. Please do. It will help. But in any case, what I remember, and this is just very honest friend to friend, is that I remember the wonderful woman named Donna, who was at the front of the bottom line. She put me on a list, like any show you want to go to, you're in. So I just walked in, and you had just gotten on stage, and I guess it was a big gig in your life, right?
Thank you, sir. It was.
But I walked in, and you were lit from behind. You looking like dazzlingly handsome, and I went, fuck this guy. And that was before I heard note one, and then
Fuck this guy.
Yeah, and I want to say still, it's a tribute to you. I have to sit next to you on this podcast, the closest to you, and I still say I'm a big fan and fuck this guy.
Ah, bless you.
You should name your band that.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Well, that's very nice, and you've always been very kind to me, and we go back a long way.
Well, yes, that I guess is how many years ago was that bottom line?
40.
87?
38 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and not only, here's, in terms of kindness, I
was 10 though, just so you.
Because you have a record called coming out, this is going to air in the new year.
Great.
We want to put it out as we want to start our year with Richard Marx.
Yes, please.
But this new album, which is of standards and songs that are new standards.
Have you heard the record?
I've heard the first 4 songs that you released on Apple Music, and they're phenomenal.
Thank you.
I've always loved standards and older music, even as a kid.
Well, the first 3 that you heard
Yeah.
sound like standards, but they were new songs that I wrote.
And there was The Way You Look Tonight, which you do.
And then I just released The Way You Look Tonight, which is a standard. But the first few that you heard that you thought
were standards or not.
Richard wrote
no,
them.
and that's the best compliment I've
I
gotten.
am so impressed.
One of my friends who's a real aficionado of that era, when the first single that came out, which was called Magic Hour, which I wrote with my wife Daisy, who you met, he was like, I know that Dean Martin did this, right? And I was like, no. And then another track called All I Ever Needed came out, and that I wrote as if I were a struggling songwriter in 1948 pitching a song to Sinatra. But I've had so many people go, wait, I love this song. I know this song. Who did this song?
Because the production is perfect.
Thank you.
And your voice is perfect for
That
this.
is a really great hopping live band that you have.
Well, we did the whole record live. Like, nobody does that anymore. We cut the whole album in 3 afternoons.
Oh, that's great.
Because we did every song, and it was 28 people. And I sang live with everybody. We did every take live.
Great.
And then we would just listen back, and I'd go, we'd do every song like 3 times, and I'd go, what are you guys saying? 1? Take 1?
Uh-huh.
And we'd all like agree.
Yes.
And that's the record.
So
no punching in,
how
no
big a
auto
band
tune.
did you have?
It was a rhythm section of 4.
Right.
But then 24 strings and horns.
It's phenomenal.
And everybody played live together.
a lot of pop stars who go back and do standards or standard sounding songs overproduce it. And it sounds completely like AI did it.
I hear you.
This sounds just right. Like
Thank
the
you.
arrangements are just right. The size of the band is just right.
I think so too. Well, the arrangements were done, except for the one that I wrote myself. I wrote a string chart for Fly Me to the Moon. We do it as a ballad.
Which another boy singer sang before
Yeah.
you.
I found this kid. He's a kid. He does all the arrangements and conducts for the BBC Orchestra in London. And I went over there to do a show that they have called the Piano Room, where they take a new song of yours, a newer song, a classic of yours, a hit, and then a cover.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a new song, which is a few years ago. I did my song Right Here Waiting, and then I did an old Hall & Oates song called Kiss on My List.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid, Rob Eklund, wrote all the charts for it, and I was blown away by his work, the way he was this young guy conducting, because sometimes conductors have to have a command about them.
Mm-hmm.
When he's not on that podium, he's just a goofy kid. But when he's up there, he commands respect.
Maestro.
He's maestro.
Right.
So I reached out to him and I said, I've got this idea for this album, and he dove into it and he wrote all the charts except for one, and came and conducted.
Did you grow up loving this music?
I did, but it was never something I thought about singing, because I've never felt like I was right for that.
But you are.
But I am. I feel like once I started singing these songs, I felt like, oh my God, these are like old friends I never knew I had. You know?
Well, this album got me thinking about your dad and thinking about my dad. And so on your podcast, you do a thing which I love, which is you give people a piece of vinyl, usually from your collection. So I have some musical gifts to give you today, because it got me thinking about, like, when I wrote the liner notes for duets for Sinatra, I got to mention my dad, which was on his deathbed. That was one of the things he told. He was bragging to nurses about being mentioned on a Sinatra record. And so I got the record I picked from my collection. There'll be other gifts, but this was my dad, when I was 9 or 10, he was in the beauty industry, and he was meeting with Gladys Knight about a shampoo. And, he goes, "That's your favorite singer," because she was right there. The Pips and Gladys Knight were having all the big hits. So she's always been just one of my favorite singers. And I've got to tell her.
She's in my top 5. She's in my top 5.
And on your show, you always talk about manifesting. We've yet to have her on the podcast, so I'm manifesting here.
Oh, yeah.
I brought you
Gladys, come on.
Favorite Gladys Knight records.
Gladys, we love you.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, David. This is so awesome.
Midnight
Train to Georgia, written by Jim Weatherly, who just passed away.
Who was a football star
and
wrote a bunch of her hits. Midnight Train.
Holy cow.
He wrote like a bunch of her
Nashville
hits.
guy. I ended up in Nashville.
Yes.
I met him a few times over the years. Yeah. Wow. This is so great. Thank you. Well, where do we begin?
Well, dads, I wonder, like,
well, let me say, I think when I met you for lunch, I mentioned this, that you bear a striking resemblance to my dad.
Wow.
So I brought this picture of my dad from when he was in the Army, 1943.
Dick Marx.
Tell me that doesn't look like...
Oh my God, it really does
Phil.
look like Phil.
That's crazy, right?
Luke,
hold it up to that camera.
That's amazing.
Can you see that, Xavier? Oh, that camera. Sorry. Hold it to that one.
It is uncanny.
Well, Richard, I have something I need to tell you.
Enough that let's see about this one. No, that one not so much. But like, even think of Phil looking over to the side. There's right? It's a little similarity.
That is crazy.
I am your father.
And your dad was not just your dad. He was, I have to say, I never investigated more than before you came over the last week or so.
Yeah.
I been listening to
you did
Dick Marx does Broadway.
A Dick deep dive.
A deep dive. And he was, for people who don't know, he was a hugely successful in Chicago, right? The sort of king of commercials and jingles. But he also made some recordings, which I've checked out for the first time. He was great. He was like Brubeck.
Pianist.
He was like a Brubeck level keyboardist.
He was. Any recordings?
Yes. He made like 4 or 5 albums. When Oscar Peterson would come to Chicago, he would come to see my dad play.
What?
When George Shearing would come to Chicago, he would go and listen to my dad play.
So when you're a kid, is he bringing jingles home and trying them out on you?
No, but I started singing on them when I was a little kid.
Oh.
So my dad wrote stuff like, ask any mermaid you happen to see. What's the best tuna chicken of the sea? My dad
wrote with a mouthful
wrote
of
the
tuna.
music.
He could have done a medley like Barry Manilow did eventually.
He wrote 2 scoops of raisins and a package of Kellogg's Raisin Bran. He wrote the music to all these hit 30-second songs.
Because for people who don't know, Chicago was a huge ad town. It was like
you had Leo Burnett, you had all these big advertising agencies there, and he, in the 60s, 70s, and even into the early 80s, he was one of the top 3 guys in the country. And when I was a little kid, I was, walking around my house singing Monkees songs and Beatles songs, and my parents were like, he can sing. So the next thing I knew, I'm 6 years old, behind a microphone, and I'm singing, my dog's better than your dog. My dog's better than yours, Melissa.
Oh, yeah.
My dog's better because he gets kennel ration. And what was the other big song, a big jingle?
This is so fun.
If you believe in peanut butter, you got to believe in Peter Pan. That's me.
Wow.
We got Peter Pan probably for that very jingle. That was the reason.
So yes, I grew up with that, and my mom sang on all those jingles as well.
Wow.
But my dad wrote, arranged, and produced, and conducted, and he was a total badass.
How fun is that?
And
Yeah.
do you ever think like you lost your dad tragically in 1997? Was it? He died in an accident. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I always wished I'm sorry for you, but I wish I could have met him.
Yeah,
you would the stories he could tell.
Him. He was such a great hang.
But what do you think he would think of this record? I think of it like with my dad being so proud about me writing something for Sinatra or
Did
coming
he
to
love
see me
that
with
kind of
Tony
music?
Bennett.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So is it for him?
It wasn't. It really wasn't. But
Do you
when I
wanna
was
say
in
for
there,
the podcast that it is. For
it was
him?
absolutely for my dad, and I'm gonna muster a tear over that. I did have.
You want something to drink, by the way?
Yeah, just some water would be great.
Let me help.
I did have a couple of moments singing, because when you're singing and in the headphones, I'm sort of, instead of being the producer of the record who happens to be cutting a vocal at the moment, I just kind of really did get lost in it a couple of times and think about what I was doing and who was, thanks buddy.
Yes.
And who was, I'm looking over at Vinnie Colaiuta playing drums and Dean Parks playing guitar and,
Oh my God, the best of the best.
And I thought about what got me a couple times, and I had to think of Everybody Loves Raymond episodes or something to snap out of it, because I would have started crying. I thought about the fact that if my dad were around, he would have written all the charts and he would have conducted, because he did that for me. He wrote some arrangements of some of my hits before he passed. I think he would have been really proud of this record. I think he really would. So I had a couple of moments of thinking it's a little bit of a ripoff that he didn't get to see it. But I mean, he would be 101. So he'd probably be going, huh?
Yeah.
German Jew.
A German Jew.
German Jew.
Yeah.
Maybe there's the connection. Maybe we are related.
A Marxist.
Do you know where what town or city your family's from?
They lived in Berlin.
Okay.
I think my dad's family came from Poland originally, so
Okay.
it's not. But of course, if you were Polish Jew, you wanted to be known as a German Jew.
Right. No shit. My great grandfather was born in Mainz. So whenever I go to Germany to tour, I make sure to play in Mainz and wander around. And there's no way of tracking where they were, but yeah, I'm very proud of my German Jewish heritage, even though I was never, like my dad, I was never bar mitzvahed.
When did they immigrate over?
Or turn of the century? Early 1900s.
Yeah, mine were later. Yeah.
When immigration was more encouraged and more so
Certainly
possible.
more so than now.
Well,
Yes.
Germans always welcome.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, now more than ever.
Germany now more than ever.
So one of the, you mentioned manifestation. I have a story for you,
Please.
which connects to the record. So I have Kenny G's playing a solo on one song on this record. Chris Bodie, the incredible trumpet player, is playing on a song.
Both guests on Richard's podcast if you want to check it out.
Right, that's right. But the only duet on the album is a cover of Young at Heart that I did with Rod Stewart.
Oh.
So here's my story. 3 years ago, I'm going down to Australia to do a tour. Flying over, I've been there many, many times over the years. Flying over, it's a long flight. My wife Daisy's next to me on the plane.
That's a good flight.
What's that?
When you get Daisy Fuentes next to you on the plane.
Any time I'm sitting next to Daisy Fuentes is time well spent. She's watching some whatever stuff she downloaded for the flight. She looks over and she goes, "What are you watching?" I had downloaded like 20 old interviews with Rod Stewart from MTV, from Entertainment Tonight, whatever. I'm watching these because I'm a lifelong huge fan of Rod Stewart. And this is what I'm watching on our flight over to Australia.
Yep.
So we get there. My tour starts. I play like 8 different cities. Early on in the tour, I'm doing an interview, and somebody says, "You've written with so many people and produced so many people. Is there an artist you always wanted to work with you never did?" I said, "Yeah, Rod Stewart. I'm such a freak for Rod Stewart. He didn't need my help, clearly, but I would have loved to have worked with him on something, and I never worked with him." A couple days later, we're in a lounge at an airport, getting ready to fly to Perth to do our last show. The drummer says to me, "Here's a question I never asked you. Who have you seen live in concert more than anybody else?" And I thought about it, and I said, "Rod Stewart."
Oh.
I've seen Rod Stewart probably 10 times. He's like maybe my favorite performer. Wow, didn't see that one coming. We land in Perth. We have a dinner set up for my tour manager, it's his birthday. So it's me and my band and Daisy. We're walking into this restaurant in Perth, and my guitar player looks down at my shoes and he goes, "Dude, where did you get those shoes? Those shoes are so cool." I said, "Oh, I've had these 30 years. I got them in London." Here's a funny story. I was in the hallway at the American Music Awards years ago, and Rod Stewart walked up. He was about to go on, and we kind of nodded to each other, and we were wearing the exact same shoes. He goes, "That's crazy." We sit down at the table. They hand us menus, and Daisy taps me, and she points, and Rod Stewart walks right in front of us in Perth. It would have been even a better story if it was like Elton John walked in front of us. No. But Rod is walking out of this restaurant with a group of people. And my brain first went, "You don't know him." Like, I've met him a couple times, but you don't know him. So I'm not gonna, and then my brain went, "Fuck that." And I went, "Hey, Rod!" He turns around, he goes like, it's dark, he sees me. He comes running around, gives me a big hug, says hello, introduces himself to everybody I'm with, my band and everything. We stand there talking. Yeah. "What are you doing here, mate?" So I'm finishing my tour. He goes, "I'm starting mine."
Wow.
He says, "What are you doing? Come, let's meet here after the show tomorrow. After your show tomorrow, we'll have drinks." And I said, "Oh man, it's going to be late." He goes, No, let's do it. And I'm thinking, is Rod Stewart really asking me to hang out? And I'm thinking, so I go, "Okay, of course." And we exchange information with his assistant. Whole next day, I'm just waiting for Rod's very sorry, but
right, like it's a girl in high school.
Yeah, totally.
You're staring at the phone.
Instead of concentrating on my gig, all I'm thinking about is, am I actually going to go have drinks with Rod Stewart? And I get this text midday, "Rod's really looking forward to seeing you." It says, "Don't worry, no matter how late." Wow. So I do my gig. Yeah. I go over. He's with his band. I know some of the guys in his band. Rod and I end up in a corner talking all night for 2.5 hours. And all I can say is that was the beginning of, we text each other all the time. We go to dinner all the time. I'm going on tour with him next year. I'm doing 15 shows with him. He's become a dear, like one of my closest people in my life. Like,
this is the greatest story.
Like, I love him so much. When I toasted him on his birthday, we got invited to his 80th birthday. And I toasted him at his birthday dinner, and I said, "For the people who say never meet your heroes, they never met Rod Stewart."
Fuck those people.
Fuck those people.
I had you mentioned,
isn't that crazy? Manifestation story.
You mentioned the American Music Awards this year, which is 2025 as we're speaking. We're in December. I wrote for the American Music Awards, and Rod was being honored with like this big Lifetime Achievement Award.
I remember.
And it was
I remember what he wore.
Well, the amazing thing was, it ended up being, they had the idea of having his kids give him the award. So I was charged with, in Vegas, texting with all of Rod's kids. And I will just tell you, like, I wish if I was being honored in some way and my kids were reached out, they were so wonderful and loving. And you think with Rod Stewart's life and the women and the famous blow up and divorces and stuff like that, the guy still, and managed, I think, to be a great dad because all of these kids were just so wonderful.
That is a testament to him. I think from what I've heard, Quincy Jones had a similar situation where he had many partners and wives, all of whom adored him to the day he died. And Rod has somehow managed to not alienate any of these women that he's loved and who loved him, despite being a dick and, and making mistakes. And like his life and his family, it's one of the many things I admire about him. The thing I think I most admire about Rod is his balance between loving the work and being so dedicated to touring and music, but also really enjoying the fruits of his labor. He's unapologetic about it. Like I'm doing much better than I used to, but I see somebody like Rod and I'm thinking to myself, we should be having more fun. Rod's having more fun than any of us. And I think that the atmosphere that he creates for his family.
Yeah.
Because I'm with him, I don't know all his kids, but I've been with him with several of his kids, and I just see that dynamic. I have it with my sons. My sons are my best friends. And it's just one of those things where...
And some of your good collaborators.
And some of my really good collaborators. And I look at that whole thing and I think Rod just somehow... I think it's one of those things, his charisma is so intense that even if he pissed you off, you'd get over it immediately because he's just so loving and lovable.
Did his album of standards inspire you?
It didn't inspire me, but I really loved it. And when I was making this album, it definitely did. And I went back and listened to how he treated a handful of songs. There was a song I almost did that he cut that was never like notable on those albums of his, but he did a cover of a song called My Foolish Heart. Do you know that song? Our lips are
oh yeah.
Take care, my foolish heart.
Right.
I didn't really know that song until I really listened to Rod's version, and his vocal is so impeccable, and it's a beautiful arrangement, beautiful chart. So I thought about doing that, and then I thought, no, I'm never going to do it as good as Rod. So I was sitting in a pub with him a year and a half ago in London, and we're getting tipsy. I've gotten shit-faced with him a few times. It's it'll be the greatest memories of my life as I get older. Both of us stumbling out of a restaurant together.
It's like Peter O'Toole and
totally.
Richard Harris. Yeah.
It's like you're one of the faces.
But we were sitting there, and this is like he'd only had half a beer. And he said, by the way, Mike, I know you're doing this album. We should do a duet.
What?
And I went,
it was his idea.
I said, are you fucking with me?
Come on.
No, we should. It'd be fun. And I said,
that's awesome.
What should we do? And he goes, I was thinking maybe Young at Heart. I was like, oh. So we did.
It's a dream.
Yeah, because Rod said, I got an idea.
Amazing.
Yeah. So.
Listening to the podcast, I realized that we this is something we do all three have in common, like a love and respect for elders and hearing their stories. Like your episode with Kenny Loggins, who I know a bit, but man, it's like you know him on a deeper level. And it's like when you came to town, my sense is, was it Lionel Richie was the first guy to sort of welcome you into this?
Yeah, hired me, gave me my first job.
Yeah, but even like Olivia Newton-John, all these people who I just love.
Kenny Rogers.
Do you think that love for your elders, respect for your elders comes from, where do you think that comes from?
Well, it comes from life. I had incredible grandparents. I didn't really know my paternal grandfather. Never met my paternal grandmother. She was gone before I showed up. But I was really close to my mom's parents. And my grandfather, Dwayne, was, dropped out of school in 8th or 9th grade, was one of the wisest, most interesting, curious people I ever met. And I just grew up around, and so growing up and then coming out here to LA, I was 18. I ended up working with people who were older. I was always the kid, for the first 10 or 15 years of my career. I was always the youngest around. Now I'm always the oldest. But I think I just always had a sense of great respect. And those people just came into my path. Like Paul Anka, I met when I was 19. Were you honored the other night at the... That's another... Talk about it. I met him when I was 19. We wrote a bunch of songs together, all of which got recorded. One was in a Kevin Costner movie. One was a hit by some other artist. Cut to 40 years later. I'm having lunch with him 2 weeks ago, and he said, I'm being honored at this LA Press Club thing. And they asked me if I wanted somebody to introduce me. And I said, nah, but are you around on the 7th? I was like, I get back from India on the 6th. I'll be there.
Well, here's...
So I presented him with this award the other night because he asked, of all people, Paul Anka asked me to do that. So I have nothing but respect for these guys.
I'm presenting you with this.
Oh,
I bought this the other day. This is one of my favorite Paul Anka records because I know.
Look at how styling he was.
Very. Still looks cool.
Cool
guy.
I might bust that out on my tour.
But Paul, I spent a lot of time with him, including gambling together. He staked me at blackjack for a day. I think we lost $20,000-$30,000 together in blackjack one time. But I was watching his documentary, which is on HBO now, which is really interesting.
What a songwriter.
Well,
I mean, people don't really understand. Thank you. This is amazing. You know what I love about this? Look at the name of the album. And this is in the 70s when that song was iconic. Feeling, right? Sure. There's no feeling.
Yeah, he didn't feelings because he didn't write it. He wants the publishing.
This guy wrote a song for Sinatra.
My Way.
Which was covered by Elvis.
Right.
And he also wrote a song with Michael Jackson. Who else?
A couple songs with Michael Jackson.
Who else has done that?
Michael Jackson
oh no, this is it. And then
not the Kenny Loggins song.
The one the two songs that Michael has had the most success with since he passed were songs that I know Paul quite well, and he was like, there were these tracks that he had done years ago that when Thriller blew up, Michael's management or camp said,
they cut him out.
These are not going to come out. You can't put it on your record or anything. Then years later, when Michael left, they were so looking for good tracks that they put him out.
It was a hit.
And didn't credit him. This is it. Got on the radio, and then Paul was in the great position to raise his hand and go, "Excuse me, that's a co-write." And they
were like, "Oh, this is written by Michael Jackson," and Paul's like, "And." Yeah, it's actually a great story.
Is that in the doc? I got it.
Yes, that's in the doc. He tells the story.
Paul Anka is.
Saw him in the 70s.
Did you?
Yeah.
How old are you?
Old, 65.
Oh, okay. It's a couple years older than me. How did you guys meet? I don't know this. Grinder? No?
That's the best answer.
That's a terrible
Yes, eating a grinder. Eating a hoagie. No.
How did he get right to it? Bullseye.
I reviewed Everybody Loves Raymond in Rolling Stone. And I reviewed really the whole fall season, and I didn't like any of the shows. And then at the end, I wrote, there is one new show that's about to come out that is friggin' brilliant. And guess what? Phil liked that review.
I bet.
And we started having lunch way back when.
Wow.
And then within a couple of years, we were working on like the Tribute to Heroes because I sort of transitioned into television writing and stuff. So
we're waiting for another disaster so we can work again.
Exactly.
But you guys did you reach out to him because you liked what he wrote?
The review was so sweet.
Yeah.
And it was the first major review that we got.
Yeah. And it was Rolling Stone.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, we were cool.
Yeah. Right.
For a second. And I called him to say thank you. That's all.
Nice.
And I said, let me take you to lunch.
I love
And we've been having lunch ever since.
Wow.
That was 1996.
And I've paid 3 times for those lunches.
Daisy and I are friendly with Alex Meneses.
I love her.
Yeah.
So I just saw her because we just filmed our 30th anniversary show. And I should tell people the show did well, so well that they're doing the sequel to the special. Because we have at least an hour's worth of stuff that was cut out, including an interview with Alex Meneses and all the other guest cast that came and did interviews, which we didn't have time for in the 90-minute
Right.
TV special, so now we have time. So you'll see
Can
them.
I just say real quickly that, I mean, there's so many, it's impossible to choose, but She's Not the One is probably my favorite episode.
Thanks. Where the girl eats the fly and Robert thinks she's the one and Ray says she's not the
one. When he goes, when Ray goes, she's not the one. Because she took a fly and she ate it.
Yes.
Which makes me wonder, because you were an example of someone who married for a second time and seems to be totally have been in love for over, is it a decade now?
Yeah, our 10th anniversary is in
Mazel
2
tov.
weeks. Thank you.
That's very nice. Where are you going to go?
Palm Beach.
Really?
Because we live in Miami.
You do?
Yeah, we live in Miami part-time, or most time.
Yeah.
And we figured out a way to go and totally avoid Mar-a-Lago altogether.
Yes.
And enjoy,
why would you want to avoid that?
And enjoy Palm Beach. And we love Palm Beach, so we're going to go and do that. For
you ever see the Palm Beach Story? One of my favorite
the
comedies.
Greatest.
Okay, so do you know who Preston Sturges
was? Of course.
That's one of his best movies. You have to watch it.
I will. I'm going to remember.
And you're going to see Palm Beach as it was in the 50s.
I was going to say, it's like mid-50s,
I think late 40s, early 50s, I want to say.
Preston Sturges.
You're going to love
badass.
it. Preston
Can't wait.
Sturges.
Because
Awesome.
to watch it, to see it in black and white?
Yeah.
Yeah. To see it at that time.
At that time. If you live
I
there,
have books on it because I'm so fascinated by it.
Yes.
But we love it there. So that's where we're going to spend our anniversary.
Yeah.
But my question that you inspired with this, something you said is, I wondered, in between getting a divorce and falling in love with Daisy, did you have a time when you dated women who ate flies and crazy? Did you have any of the enough time in between?
Not much. See, I met Daisy, but nothing was going on. Nothing had happened. But I met her at a gig, and I always had a crush on her from afar.
As did we all.
Yes, did we all. And I remember back watching her on MTV, I remember having this thought many times, which was not just, wow, that girl is so gorgeous and so hot.
Yeah.
I remember thinking there was something about her that made me feel like we would like each other, like that she was a good hang. There was something about her that was so honest and silly and funny and like cool. I just remember thinking beyond the physical beauty, there was something about her that her charisma was, impressed me. So when I met her briefly, it definitely registered. She didn't know it at the time. I was already separated at that time. And I'd been married for 20 something years and to a really wonderful woman who I'm still friendly with. And so when I officially separated and I was living in Chicago, I came back to LA and I gave it a couple months, and then I reached out to Daisy to see if we could go out, and we went out to dinner and
On Twitter when it was a good place, right?
Right. Well, we kind of met through Twitter a couple of years before that. And then, so we had this really amazing dinner, but the whole time she's a little like, is this guy married? What's his deal? Because it wasn't public that I was separated or getting divorced or anything like that. And so then I explained the situation, and then we started seeing each other, and I just fell helplessly in love with Daisy like that. And I was very full on, and I was like really pursuing her hard. And she's very smart. A few months into this, she looked at me and she said, "You got married when you were 21. Mm-hmm. You've never been single. You need to be single for a while. I can't invest in this."
Oh. My wife said that to me today. No, it's not true.
She broke up with me.
Wow.
She said, I mean, if she were here, she would tell you exactly what she said, which was I've been in the situation where she'll lean and she'll go, what I said was, you need to go fuck a bunch of girls because you've never gotten that out of your system.
My wife did not say that.
Why my wife has never said this to me.
Exactly.
Now,
she seems fantastic.
To have somebody say that to you, you would think would be the dream come true.
No, it's
I'm
not.
sure it's
in that moment, it was
heartbreaking
because she broke up with me, and I didn't want anybody but her.
I would say she said that because you have no idea what you're doing.
Get some practice.
So I
Reps.
was single for, I don't know, 5 months or something like that, and she dumped me, and I just And so, yeah, I had some fun, but it was like I was obsessed with Daisy.
And by the way, she co-wrote the title track, right? To Magic Hour. She co-wrote one of the tracks on the record.
She wrote the lyrics with me to Magic Hour.
And to me, it's funny. I think she has a little bit of the vibe of the Sinatra era women, like a little between Lauren Bacall and Ava Gardner. Or
she would have been so right in the Rat Pack. Angie Dickinson, you know. I asked her a couple of years ago, because I know she loves that whole era. And I said, so if you'd been around back then, who would you have dated, Dean or Frank? And she went, Frank. And I went, really? She goes, why? And I said, Dean was tall and handsome. And she goes, Frank was Frank. And I went, oh, right.
It's so true. And I don't know if you ever met her. I got to meet when she got her Honorary Academy Award, Lauren Bacall. I was writing on the show and I was asked, can you work with Lauren Bacall on her speech?
Oh, God.
And she was still Lauren Bacall.
Oh, yeah.
And she was still sexy and funny. And she told me stories about John Lennon being in the building. I think it was the Dakota where she lived. And she was just still
I wrote a
sexy.
Song in a Streisand movie called Mirror Has Two Faces where she plays her mother. And so the song, it comes out of a scene between Barbara and Lauren Bacall. And then at the premiere of the movie, I got to meet Lauren Bacall. And I didn't really get to hang with her, but I, talked to her for a minute. And I was stunned at how gorgeous she still was. Like, I would have been like, okay, where do you want to go? Where should we go?
I've had that with Anne Margaret when I met her at her Emmys. I was like, oh my God, you get nervous talking to someone.
For sure.
That, by the way, Richard on his podcast on one episode told an amazing story about Barbara Streisand and taking some people to her house. And have you ever spoken about the day you got the tour of Barbara Streisand's house?
It's a long story, but I did. I won't go into the whole thing, but I got the tour of the basement, the whole
the
street,
mall. They call it the mall.
Street underneath the earth.
Yeah,
and we got to a little, what looked like a little ice cream parlor.
Yep.
And I went in, and there was a guy.
There's a guy
working the ice cream machine.
They don't let him come out of that basement.
I think they even did an off-Broadway play about this guy.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was called, but it's supposedly very funny. But I saw him, and everybody who gets the tour, Barbara leads the tour, and as they were leaving, I said, how long you been in here?
And he's like trying to sleep me a note.
It's just a job, really.
Can you get word to my wife?
We went into one room. She showed us a room, and a what looked like a closet door opened, and a little old lady came out of it, saw us, and went back in.
Yeah, there's crazy stuff that goes on over at that house.
You've been there a lot?
Yes. But Dave was talking about a story that I told, which is a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Daisy had a friend visiting, and she had a new boyfriend, and this guy was from Argentina.
Yeah.
And so there was this dinner set up for us to meet this new boyfriend.
Yes.
And so Daisy said to me, since it's just the four of us, should we invite another couple to kind of like just break it up a little bit? And I was like who? And she goes, well, what about Barbara and Jim? Because we socialize with them quite a bit. And I said, Barbara doesn't really go out to restaurants that much, but I can ask.
I invited her to the diner through a mutual friend. I think she's going to come. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's something that she would love. She loves diners.
Do you want to be there?
Sure. If I'm here, I would love that.
Can I serve that table?
You can bust the table.
So the dinner's at what was Mr. Chow, which is now Lucky's in Malibu.
Right.
And that's
a place, by the way.
Lucky's?
Yeah.
I love it.
I heard it's really good.
It's really good. It's really fun, and they have the best martinis ever.
Oh.
I'm a martini guy.
And it's a good steak.
I don't eat meat, but I've heard it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, their food is supposedly really good.
Nice.
So I call Barbara thinking, she's going to politely pass, whatever. And she goes, well, Jim's away working, but I'd like to come.
Oh.
Will you pick me up? I was like, sure.
Yeah.
She knows that she doesn't know this other couple. So the girl of this couple had been with us. Barbara invited us to this. She does, whenever she tours, she does a show, like a dress rehearsal called Friends and Family, where she has friends and family come and watch the final dress rehearsal for her tour.
Right.
So they she invited us. Daisy and I were front row.
I went to one of those for the Eagles where it was all doctors. They literally, this is when Glenn Fry was still around.
Well, when you hit a certain age.
Yeah. It was at the forum.
Orthopedic surgeons.
And it was,
he did my knees, he did my hips.
Exactly.
Well, we're in the front row and we brought this woman, Ina, who's the girl in this couple. And she's a huge Barbara freak and she's crying the whole show. And so this is like maybe a month later that we're having this dinner. So we pick up Barbara, we're driving down PCH, Barbara's in the backseat. And Barbara goes, so who is this? Who are these people at the dinner? And Daisy goes, oh, it's my friend Ina. And she goes, you don't remember, but we brought her to your friends and family show. And she loved you so much. She goes, I didn't tell her you were coming because in case you canceled, I didn't want to, have her get her hopes. And Barbara went, wait, she doesn't know I'm coming? She goes, oh, this could be fun. I said, what do you mean? She goes, I got an idea. So when you pull up and you park, you guys go in and find your friends and I'll wait outside for a minute and then I'll come in and I'll act like I don't know where I'm supposed to sit and you'll wave me over and I'm driving and I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? And now I pull up and now I'm freaked out because I don't want to leave her outside by herself.
But she wants it.
But she wants that.
Yeah.
So we do this whole skit because Barbara thought it would be fun.
Okay.
And she comes in. Of course, the whole restaurant turns because it's Barbara fucking Streisand walking into the dinner. And she's looking around like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. And I go, Barbara. And now Ina, this girl, sees Barbara and loses her shit. Like where Barbara's like, honey, calm down. I'm sitting with you. And now the 5 of us are sitting there.
Yeah.
And this is testament to Barbara Streisand, anybody who knows her. And this is something that people don't get about her. Uh-huh. That entire dinner, Barbara didn't talk about Barbara. Barbara asked everybody questions. Oh. Barbara's the most curious.
Yeah.
I mean, she'll tell you great stories.
Yeah.
But there are people who are really legendary and famous and all they talk about is themselves.
They think it's their job.
They never ask you a question.
And I think you're on to something because I think about it. My father-in-law is someone who, I think he never stops asking everyone he meets about, like, young people, what they do, and he wants to know. He actually wants to know, and I think that's a secret to keeping your mind agile is you actually have to keep caring about not just your own bullshit, but other people's lives.
But she's notorious for that. Like, she just asks everybody questions about themselves, and it's really a beautiful, endearing thing.
It's why we have a podcast, so that we're just not talking about ourselves.
Right. So towards the end of the dinner, Barbara says, in true Barbara form, she turns to me, she goes, Richard, they haven't been to the house, right? And I was like, oh, you just met them, Barbara. They have not been to your house. She goes, maybe I was supposed to go to do this thing, this screen, but like, would you guys want to come over to the house? And so these strangers, who she only knows through us, she knows that they're friendly with Daisy.
Yeah.
From tonight, she gives them the entire tour of the house. She takes them into her bedroom to show them this painting that she bought and when she bought it and with the story behind the buying of that painting. And 2 hours and she's done this. She did it with my wife's sister. She's done it with multiple people who she's met through us. Yeah. Where she just goes, oh, come over to the house. I'll show you. I'll tell you all about it.
We were invited to dinner at her house with a bunch of other people. And it was a very nice dinner. And then at the end, she goes, all right, who wants the tour?
Yeah.
And you get the tour.
Yeah, the last couple of times.
White House.
The last couple of times I go, I'm good.
Yeah, right?
I'll wait here. I'm going to have a drink with Jim.
My wife, was, of course, at the front of the tour with her. And she's, Barbara's opening closets, and here's the gown from Funny Girl, and here's the thing. And my wife is freaking out.
Well, she has the gown from Funny Girl, but then she has, at the bottom of it is a picture of her in the gown from Funny Girl.
Exactly, like a museum. And then she opens a closet and says, Monica, you'll like this. And it's another dress from On a Clear Day You Can See Forever. And Monica knows that it's the dress from On a Clear Day You Can See. And she's just geeking out. And Barbara's so kind and sweet to her. I'm hanging in the back with Paul Reiser and I think Bill Maher was there. And we go to the jewelry room.
Yeah.
Which is an octagonally shaped room with all the jewels that she's worn in the movies.
And she has the green and green room, you know that?
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the jewelry room, I go, it's like the Vatican. And Bill Maher goes,
the Jewish Vatican.
Bill Maher goes, it's the Schmatican. That's all right.
To step on that.
Well, that's it.
Well, before we leave Barbara,
Yes.
I met the first time I met her. Well, actually, the first time I met her, 1985. I don't have a record deal yet, but I'm getting work as a background singer and songwriter, and I'm working on a project with Kenny Rogers in this studio that he owned at the time called Lion Share. And all of a sudden, the door to the studio opens, and it's Barbara Streisand. She goes, "Is there a Richard here? Is there a Richard?" I go, and I'm Richard. And she
What
goes,
year is this?
85.
Okay.
She goes, "They say that you can sound like people. Can you sound like Barry Gibb?" And I went,
"Whoa."
She goes, "No, can you sound?" And I said, "Oh, I think so." She goes, shakes my hand. She goes, "Come with me."
Oh.
Walked me down the hall. As we're walking, she says, "So I recorded this live show at my house, and we're mixing it. And I realized that I did Guilty with Barry, and he forgot to sing the first It Ought to Be Illegal. Can you think you could sing that?"
What? For the album?
Yeah, for the live album. And I go, I'll try.
Oh.
So she walks me in, headphones on. She plays me the track. I know the song because it's a huge hit, right? And I go, and she goes like, and I go, "It ought to be illegal." And she goes, first day, she goes, "That's it.
Oh my
Thank you
God.
so much."
Oh my God.
Cut to, I go, "Okay, bye." I get it 6 months later, 8 months later, the album goes platinum. I get a box at my house and my name is in the credits as a background singer. The album's called One Voice. It's a live album.
Oh, I have it in my
So
She sent
as
me a
long as you
platinum
were
album.
credited as a background singer, that gave you the legitimacy to sing that line. Is that correct?
No.
What is it?
Well, most of the time they would not credit anyone. So
Right.
that was generous
But
of her
that's
to credit.
truly-
But
that's
this
her-
is inside stuff.
Yes.
If people have this album.
That's her
The first
attention to
line is
detail.
sung by Richard Marx and not
Barry Gibb.
So it's a lie a bit.
It's a bit of a lie, but it's just Barry's there. He just forgot the first line.
It's a big lie, so that's a big lie is okay. We've learned
What a great
history.
story.
It's a good one, right?
Oh,
A great
And then
one.
cut to, so a year or two later, I get a record deal, and my first album kind of blows up, and now things are going really well for me, and I'm on tour.
And Barry Gibb comes in the studio and says,
You
"I'm
son
singing
of a
your
bitch."
first line."
I get a
You're
call
guilty.
from Barbara's manager.
Yeah.
Now she has no recollection of me singing on that. We
because you
talked
weren't
about
Richard
it
Marx
since.
yet. You were just
Because I wasn't Richard Marx, yeah. I was just Richard Marx. And she wants to meet with me because she loves my songwriting.
Whoa.
She wants me to write her a song. So I go and meet her in the studio. And she's so gorgeous, and like she smells better than anything I've ever smelled. And so we have this meeting, and she's so sweet. And long story short, I had just written a song that I thought would be really good for her because I was touring. I didn't know if I had time to really write her a song, but I thought, I just wrote this song. I'm not going to do anything with it. And I really loved the song. So I sent it to her, and I still have her voicemail message on from my Codaphone. I recorded it. I still have it. "Hi, Richard, it's Barbara. I got the song, and it's beautiful. I love the melody, but I'm going to need you to rewrite the lyrics because I'm not going to be right here waiting for anybody." It's my biggest song.
That's the funniest
So she
thing I ever
rejected
heard.
that song, which
Thank God for you that she
bought
rejected
time
that song.
for other people to go, "Are you mental? Like, why wouldn't you record this song?" So I do record the song. It's
Yes.
the biggest song of my
Yes.
life.
I know it.
And to this day, every once in a while, I'll look at Barbara and I'll go, "Thanks again for rejecting my song."
Yes, right.
That's amazing.
But what
And you know what she says?
No.
I still wouldn't sing that.
amazing. Why wouldn't she be here waiting for someone
Because
she
she
loved?
felt like it was too vulnerable. She was, especially at that time, she was like, "I don't like songs where the woman sounds like a
Oh,
victim."
I see.
There's
Like, no matter what you do to me, I'll still wait for you.
Right.
Yes.
There's
but
a-
it's better for a guy to say.
See what she did there?
I see it.
One of the songs I wanted to ask about is a song, I believe, one of the first years I was working on the Grammys, it won Song of the Year, Dance with My Father, which was with Luther Vandross. And I always wondered, because I loved Luther Vandross. In fact, one of my favorite songs you've recorded is where he does an amazing background. 'Cause he started out as a great background vocalist, like as you did.
Yeah.
And he made a great appearance on
Keep Coming Back,
which is just amazing. But I wondered if you could just tell me, there was a documentary recently on Luther, and I love that there was, and I love there being more talk of it, because I think in a weird way he's a kind of major artist who sometimes a generation shouldn't not know about his music. And I wondered if you could just tell me a funny story about Luther, because I think sometimes the end was sad, so people don't get.
He was one of the
fun.
funniest people I ever knew in my life. He was. I don't know if you really knew his work that well, but he was maybe for me in the top 3 greatest singers who ever lived, ever.
I knew the hits.
He was as funny as he was talented. He was just always funny, but one of my favorite stories about him, he bought a house in Greenwich Village in the early 90s. And I was in New York doing some work, some press or something. And he said, come out to the house. You got to see the house. We'd been really great friends for a long time. And he bought this beautiful mansion. And so I go, and he has a dinner that night. I remember Rosie O'Donnell was at that dinner and a couple other people. But he said, come out early because I want to show you the house and we can catch up before everybody else arrives. So he showed me around the house. We go into this beautiful living room and I look on the walls and they're these cream colored walls. And I get up closer to it and I go, dude, is this? He goes, cashmere. Now, if you're me and somebody says the walls are cashmere, what are you going to do?
Touch it.
So I go like this. She goes, Richard Marx, don't you put your nasty hands on my cashmere walls. And I went, what the? I said, I'll tell you what. Because my kids were young at the time. I said, I'm going to have my kids come over here and I'm going to give them M&Ms in the car before and I'm going to turn them loose in here, motherfucker. He said, yeah, well, that'll be the last fucking thing you do.
Another icon who's still around, thank God, who I have a story with that I love, but did you early on in your background singer do anything with Julio Iglesias? Yeah. Julio is a character. I don't know. If you don't know Julio, investigate. This man I love Julio.
Do you want to hear my Julio story?
Yes, please.
I'm 19, working as a background singer. Somebody recommends for me to come in and sing on this song called Moonlight Lady. So usually you'd be in a group of background singers. On this date, it was just me singing all these lines and answers and harmony to his vocal. And he's always got 70 people around, like a whole entourage, in the studio.
Dresses very well.
Handsome guy, very charming, but like, hello, nice to meet you. And to me, it's like, I'm not really that familiar with him and it's just a gig. But I want to be a pro and I want to do a great job and everybody's really happy with what I'm doing. And so I would do some lines and then I would go into the control room and they would listen back and they'd either say, oh, can you double this part or can you change this part, whatever. And I'm there for like an hour. And at one point, they're listening back to what I had done and Julio's sitting at the control board and he's listening intently. Everybody's listening intently, but Julio, I'm standing in this doorway, like over here. And I noticed that he's just staring at me, like making me uncomfortable, where he's just staring at me as the music's playing. And I'm looking away, and then I look back, and he's still staring at me. And finally, the music stops. Everybody's waiting for him to say something, and he's just staring at me. And there's silence, which seems like 10 minutes, but it's probably 20 seconds, which is a long time.
Yes.
And finally, he goes, "You fuck a lot, don't you?"
Oh.
That's a classic Julio question.
And I went,
well, my girlfriend told me to.
I swear to God, I went, excuse me? I'm sorry. He goes, you fuck, yeah. How old are you? And I said, 19. He goes, yeah, I bet you fuck a lot, but I bet you don't know how to fuck. I fuck all the time. I fuck 90 times today. You young people, you may fuck a lot, but you don't know how to fuck. I know how to fuck. And I was like, noted. Cut to,
oh my God.
I haven't seen him in decades, but then when things started to happen for me, when I started having hits, I ran into him a couple of times at restaurants or something, and he would give me the biggest hug, and he was so proud. He was like proud of me, even though I just did that one little session for him. But he was very cool. And my wife has a story about him.
Oh, that I'm sure.
They were at an award show, and she was sitting behind him in like a ballroom. And she goes, all of a sudden, I feel something on my leg, and it's Julio's got his hand. He's just rubbing up and down her leg like that. And she said, there was a part of me that like, it could have been like a slap or how dare you, but it was just like so funny. At this point, he was like in his 60s and I was 20 something, but I just was like, yeah, that's what Julio does.
Oh, I have so many Julio stories. I will just tell the one that is inspired by what you've just said is that when I was working on a big documentary project about tango, and he called me out of the blue going, David, I would like you to work with me on a documentary about tango. Today? Oh no, that's coming up. But he goes, and I think what happened is there was a thing about tango that David Byrne had done with another guy named David Wild, who was a director, not me.
Yes.
But he knew me from journalism or whatever. So he goes, I said, and I told him this, and he goes, no, I want you to work. I loved working with him. It was the best. But one day we were filming part of it out by Magic Mountain in a studio. He had projected, I remember, I could look up the exact day because it was a day that Mike Tyson bit a guy in a boxing match.
Evander Holyfield. And they were showing it on a giant screen as we were filming, at which point my wife had called me and she goes, we were trying to have our first kid. It just started. And she said, you got to come home before I go to bed. I said, why? She goes, we're trying to have a kid. You got to come home now. And it was like 10:30 and we were still had another like. It's like, I'm ovulating, goddammit.
Get back. And so I said, Julio, I'm so sorry. Is it okay if I go? And he goes, why? Why do you want to go? We love to talk to each other. And I said, well, we're trying to have my wife wants to have our first kid. And she says, this is a night to get back home, please. And he goes, David, you go home and make a tango baby, and I will go back to my hotel and make a tango baby too. And 9 months later, we both had kids.
Holy shit.
I think within a day or so. And so he sent, of course, as Julio would, roses saying, wow, this is for your tango baby, and this is for my tango baby.
That's fantastic. And the next time he sees you, he will say, remember I told you I know how to?
Clearly.
Well, Richard, I forgot. Yeah. Can you please help me?
Can you remind me?
And that'll be full circle moment for you.
There's some things you never forget if you're Julio Iglesias. No. I think that would be one of them.
My resume as a background singer and songwriter is like, I might as well have been Sybil.
Who are some of the others we haven't covered?
Oh my God. Everybody, Dolly Parton, The Tubes.
Fee Waybill, the lead singer, became one of the
godfather of my kids.
Yes.
And then rock bands like Daughtry and Lifehouse. Richard Carpenter and I wrote a song together when I was 19. I worked with almost everybody.
And that was an education, right? Was that like you had
for sure?
You had 10,000 hours in Chicago probably with your dad, and then 10,000.
But which is very different kind of. It was a totally different mechanism. Making records is very different than making jingles. You're in the studio and you're making music, but it's very different. And so when I was 18 and I got my first job working with Lionel, he heard a demo tape of mine and was so complimentary and ended up hiring me as a background singer. But he gave me the best gift, which was he said to me, I don't know how much background vocal work I have for you on this, but you're welcome to be here. If I'm in this room, you're welcome to be in this room. And I didn't ever not show up. Right. And so I watched him do rhythm tracks. I watched him do horn overdubs. I watched him do string overdubs. I watched him mix the record. I watched him do everything it was like going to record making school, college.
Let's tell the young people, if someone ever makes you a generous offer like that, don't be stupid.
No.
Take that offer.
I was 18. I could have been an idiot and gone, I'm playing video games.
Better things to
do.
what
I mean? Yeah. Like, no, I was in that room every day for 3 months.
And you got a free education. That's
so he
awesome.
Literally was. What's funny is both of you were recently, you've been on the Voice in Australia. As a sort of mentor.
A coach.
Mm-hmm. He obviously is doing that, I guess, here in America. American Idol.
Yeah.
But you had it one-on-one.
Yeah.
Not on TV.
Right.
From a guy who was, he was at the absolute top of the game. Back then.
Arguably at that 82, 83, when I came out here, it was Lionel and Michael Jackson were the biggest artists in the world. And one of them happened to give me a job.
Wow.
Is like to this day, every once in a while I text him and I just say, hey, thanks for my career.
Yeah. Was it, I'm trying to remember, was it Lionel or Kenny Rogers? Who was the one who on the phone basically told you, come out here?
Lionel.
line. And what did he say? It's like
he had heard this demo tape of my first handful of songs. I was a senior in high school. And
any
my
of the songs
phone
that
number,
became hits later or no? Early stuff?
No. It was a couple of years before I wrote anything that was like hit worthy. But they were good songs. They were decent songs, especially for a 17-year-old kid. And my parents' phone number was written on the back of the cassette box.
Yeah.
And he called the number. Who does that? Lionel does that. He just called a random number in Chicago.
Yeah.
My mother's like, yeah, hold on. And he's like, hey, Richard, it's Lionel Richie. And I was like, yeah, right. Okay, Josh. He kept talking and I was a fan. So I knew his speaking voice too. So all of a sudden I was like, and he talked to me for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes and just said, man, I hear a lot of tapes and yours is really good. You've got talent and you can't make it in Chicago. I don't know what your plan is, but don't go to college. Come out to LA. And my parents, to their credit, were like, you can always go back to college. So as soon as I graduated from high school, I flew to LA.
Can you tell us what was your memory of coming to LA? Like that trip? Do you remember like where you landed, what restaurants you went to? What was your life like when you got here?
Well, I didn't have a place to live, so I was house sitting for somebody for a couple of weeks until I could get an apartment. My dad flew me out, and it was a really beautiful couple of days we spent together looking to see if we could find an apartment for me. And he was there with me when I dropped by the studio. And Lionel got me out of nowhere, just said that on the spur of the moment, hey, come out and try to sing this part. So my dad was sitting in the room.
You got to watch that moment.
He got to watch that moment.
Wow. Fantastic.
I just remember, I'm not from Gainesville, Georgia. I'm from Chicago. And yet it was like another planet for me. It was like the world just opened up. And the first restaurant I went to was Mirabelle on Sunset Boulevard. And it became my joint. I became friends with everybody there, the owners, until they closed.
Yeah.
That was my go-to place, Mirabelle, across from Tower Records.
Yeah, I remember.
I thought that Mirabelle was the Palm. I thought, was the Ivy in London. I thought it was like the most glamorous, most beautiful place.
And how great was Tower Records?
And Tower Records, like that was, I couldn't afford much there, but I went there all the time.
I had grown up reading about Elton John going to Tower Records. And when I started coming out here, I literally couldn't believe, oh my God.
Yeah.
The size of it.
Yes.
Yeah, everything was so... But like I'm sure you guys have your versions of that. When you're 18 or 19, you're leaving home, and it's like the world is just gigantic, and it's not, for me. It wasn't threatening or intimidating. It was like I just want to breathe all of this in. I want to take a bite of every apple.
If I had a nickel for every superstar that said to me, "You look like you fuck a lot,"
you wouldn't even have a nickel. I'd have a nickel.
Oh my God.
Well, Richard Marx, we love you. We love your stories.
Well, hold on. There's a couple of gifts.
Oh, more gifts.
You mentioned your cassette, and so
you brought him cassettes.
I brought a cassette. You can vinyl on your show, and so I bought this the other day.
The gift of nothing, because he can't play it.
Exactly. This is another hero, Burt Bacharach. Who can you tell your story about?
Hang on,
Burt Bacharach.
I've never done this before, but I'm gonna. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I've never done this before. Hang on. This is worth it, trust me. Because there's any number of possibilities, and I don't know which one I'm going to pull up first, but let's just see what this is. Come on, play.
You put it on the mic there, we'll get it.
Give me a call when you can. I'll be home tonight.
That's Burt Bacharach.
Oh.
Hang on.
Richard, it's Burt. On my way to the dentist.
We became so close. I miss him every minute of every day.
And you manifested your...
I sure did.
Can you tell how
I was early days of dating Daisy, and we were away somewhere. She was working somewhere, and I went to visit her, and it was early days. So you're asking each other those questions, like, what's your favorite movie? Or, and I said, what music do you like the most? And she went, I love Burt Bacharach.
Wow.
And I was so not expecting that.
Right.
And it made me fall in love even more with her.
It's another reason she's Angie Dickinson-like.
Yes. So I told her, I said, well, he's my hero and he's one of my heroes. And I met him once or twice, many, many years before, but never worked with him or anything. He hired me to sing background vocals on a Kenny Rogers record. So I got to work with him for an hour or two, but nothing he would remember. And I'd always wanted to write a song with him. It was a dream of mine. And I would mention it to Daisy. And she's finally, like a year into our relationship, 2 years, I said it again. Oh, we landed in Cabo and they were playing a Burt song, What the World Needs Now or something. And I said, God, I really want to write a song with Burt Bacharach. And she goes, you know how to make it happen. Make it happen. You're good at this. Mm-hmm. You manifest all kinds of great shit. Mm-hmm. Just focus on it. And I was like, yeah, I haven't really taken the steps. So I start thinking, who do I know that knows someone who knows someone? So I send out a couple of texts, whatever. Sure enough, I get connected to his manager. And the next thing I know, I get a call. I have to wait like 8 months because he's touring and he's writing another Broadway show. And this is when he's 90. This is when he just turned 90.
Yeah.
I finally get a date on the books. And we wrote this song. And it was the beginning of a really, really close friendship where in a span of a couple of years, we went from meeting and writing a song to we would talk on the phone for hours. And, the last 50 phone calls I had with him, when we hung up, we said, love you too, buddy, So writing with him and working with him a little bit was, serious bucket list, but it was that I got to be really close to him. And that we loved each other.
He was amazing, and
how handsome was he too? Right?
He was dashing. I got a call once. Sometimes you get these calls, and you can't believe you're being asked, and someone's going to offer to even pay you to do this.
Right?
Would you mind hanging out in the studio while Elvis Costello and I work on this record and just talk to us a little bit on camera? I'm off, I'd be off camera for obvious reasons. Yeah. And I just said, I can't believe I get to be here.
You should have said, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm busy.
Absolutely. Would never do that.
Well, what a pleasure, guys. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You. You're great.
Thank you.
Naked Lunch is a podcast by Phil Rosenthal and David Wild. Theme song and music by Brad Paisley. Produced by Will Sterling and Ryan Tillotson. With video editing by Daniel Ferreira. And motion graphics by Ali Ahmed. Executive produced by Phil Rosenthal, David Wild, and our consulting journalist is Pamela Chellan. If you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend. But if you can't take my word for it, take Phil's.
And don't forget to leave a good rating and review. We like 5 stars,
Thanks for listening to Naked Lunch, a Lucky Bastards production.